Alright, so I made a short about this and I had to edit it about 5 times to fit it into 1 minute. It was pretty rushed and, well, it just barely scratched the surface. So I ended up scripting it so I could fit it into a minute. That was just to get a little bit of reach, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here. When you say you love someone, you better mean it. I mean, that's huge. Those words are never to be taken lightly and never be used. The things people do to each other these days is just sickening. When you give someone your heart, it's for life. You don't take it back. It's not some kind of give and take possession. It's a part of your soul. And that's when you start something like that, when you tell someone you love them and you give them your heart, it's for good or for bad. Ride or die, motherfucker. Don't ever let yourself think that you're somehow entitled or there's something better for you out there, because that just says that you got into the relationship for the wrong reasons, that you don't really love that person, that you really have no respect for them. That just solidifies the points I just made. So that means when you're out there in your day-to-day, and say if you're a dude, you got chicks flirting with you, trying to pick you up, shoot that shit down. You belong to someone. That's how it should be. Same thing for women. It works both ways. All the stuff I'm saying here works both ways. And it has to work both ways for all this stuff to work right. So after you've invested years of your life into a relationship, it should be solid enough to survive. Because if you went into it for the right reasons, you're building on a solid foundation in the first place. And really, if you've put years into it, you obviously chose to build it. Well, why would you give up on something you chose? That's foolish. Especially if you spent a lot of time building a friendship first. Don't ever let anyone disrespect your relationship in any way. That can come from so many different things. Let's say you're talking to a friend on the phone and they're saying, well, this person's bad to you and you can do better. No. You shut that shit down right then and make sure that person at the very least understands your boundaries on things like that. Because if you don't protect those boundaries, people will do their best to crash right through them, and before you know it, those thoughts creep in like somebody pouring poison right in your ear hole, and it will eventually do damage. Trust me, I know about that. At the end of the day, it's your life, your love, and your happiness. It's not subject to anyone else's approval. I don't give a shit who that other person might be that's out there trying to poison your relationship and call you toxic. Yeah, right. It can be mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, cousin, friends, anybody. Establish a solid boundary, and if they can't respect that boundary, maybe you need to set one further back. Those things are not subject to anyone else's approval. They're yours. You chose to build a relationship. You chose to love someone. You chose to give them your heart. For yourselves. For you and your lover. Not for anyone else. There's a lot of toxicity out there in basic human nature. I mean, people are immoral, indecent. Just, they lie to each other, they cheat, they steal. It's just, I don't know what happened to human decency, but it's just so damn scarce these days, and it's getting worse and worse. It's actually pretty frightening. What happened to, like my grandparents, for instance, and maybe even some of my parents' generation? I mean, not my parents, but basic human morality, basic decency, faithfulness. You built a partnership with someone you love for life. That's the way it's supposed to be. You gotta communicate. That's important. Now, I understand that sometimes that's hard to do because you can be pissed off with someone or they're not receptive or something. Don't give up, because if that communication breaks down, ultimately so does your relationship, because you have to be open and honest with that person 100% and let them know how you feel. Them, not everybody else, them. Because if they don't know these things, how are they supposed to know how you're feeling? How are they supposed to support you? I mean, just think about that for a second. It seems like common sense to me. Apparently it's a little harder than I make it sound. It takes both sides to understand that. And I'm here to tell you, it's a lot of work. It takes compromise. It takes sacrifice. But if you love this person, you gave them your heart, and you chose to build this relationship that makes you both happy, then that's what you have to do. You have to maintain it. It's like planting a lilac. It looks like it's going to die sometimes. You might even think it's dead sometimes. But it comes right back if you nurture it and you love it. Always remember that nothing that's truly worth it is ever really easy. If it doesn't take some kind of work, some kind of compromise, just even a degree of struggle, and it's probably not worth it. You got to go through the hard times to understand just how good the good times are. If you're building a relationship for the right reasons, meaning out of love and your happiness, nothing outside that matters. I mean, it's great when you have a support structure and people don't mess with it or anything like that, but that just doesn't happen. Things happen. People happen. Not everyone understands what's going on inside your bubble, and they don't have to, like my lover once said. You got to turn off that noise sometimes, because it can be overwhelming, whether that be work, social media, whatever show you're binging, just life, people, that noise. It creates a lot of noise, and you end up finding yourself scattered in 80 different directions. And that's not fair to you. That's not fair to your lover. That's not fair to your relationship. Shut that fucking noise off. Sometimes it takes different methods. Like, it could be as simple as turn off TV. Or it may be something as severe as cutting someone completely out of your life. I know that's rough. Distractions, all those things fall in there too. Because really, life is short. And when it comes to things as important as a loving relationship, those distractions take away from that. You have to be focused. You have to be, what's that word? Vigilant. I know it sucks to say that, but that's a fact. You have to nurture it and protect it. I think that's about as far as I'm going to go at the moment. So, in short, put that fucking phone down. Go to your lover. Don't just tell them you love them. Prove it. I know there's a lot of folks out there who've been through hell their entire lives. People have different problems. We all walk different roads. But it's up to us to walk our road. And it's up to us to choose who we want to walk that road with us. For a lot of people, when a couple begin, they want to get in there and mess with them, and really the road that they're jealous of is too hard for them anyway. Also realize that a lot of people struggle with, alcoholism, addiction, stuff like that. I can tell you firsthand that that's a hard thing to deal with. But you got to ask yourself at some point, is that thing that's poisoning you and that will ultimately destroy you worth your love, your happiness, your peace? I don't think so. I think the choice is pretty clear. There's a lot of people that don't know how to express themselves, or they're anxious or scared or whatever. Inside of each of us, we all have to figure out how to deal with those things, because all it does is hinder us. You have to be open, honest, direct, and most importantly, calm. I understand arguments happen. You have to learn how to argue in a healthy manner. You don't scream at them. You don't call them names. You don't beat them up with their past. If you're in that moment, be for that moment and hope the next one's better. That's ultimately what you're trying to do. I suppose it's also worth saying that when it comes to your peace, love, happiness, things like that, you're in competition with no one. No one should make you compete or make you feel like it's some kind of competition. That's just sick. Like, it don't matter where you live. People shouldn't be looking down on you for it as long as you're happy with the person you're with. There's all kinds of stuff that goes into that. If you're comfortable with your appearance, if the person you're with is comfortable with their appearance, you guys are both comfortable with each other's appearances, whatever. You don't have to be superficial. Put yourself out there. I mean, I've been okay with running around in my work clothes for years because I don't care. I have someone I love, and they're fine with me just the way I am. Every once in a while, I'll do something, But it's not a constant thing. I'm not trying to impress anyone. Everybody else except her, just fuck off. So, if you've put the time, effort, the love into your relationship, that relationship that you chose to build, that you should have chosen to put that kind of time into because you love that person unconditionally, it's always worth saving. It's always worth another chance. Don't ever quit. So, I've seen the YouTubers come up with crafty names. Took a minute for that one to happen. That was actually Amy did that. Pretty cool, I thought. And then they all have a tagline, something they say at the end of the video. And you guys have all seen me that watch my videos, joking around, goofing off. Yeah, that's part of my personality for sure, but I have another side just like everybody else. And the mindset that I'm in right now is actually what sparked the one that I want. Spread love and positivity, because you never know when someone really needs it. I'll try that again. Spread love and positivity, because you never know when someone really needs it. A smile on your face could put a smile on someone else's, and you never know when they need that smile. You cracking a little quip, a smart ass joke, takes just 2 seconds, just for the sake of making someone smile because you see a frown on their face. That's the way people should be. You gotta, I don't even know how to state that, propagate happiness. I believe those are the words I want to use.